What's that?
Nice, nice. Yeah, he's in my community, so I'm really excited to hear him speak, inshallah. He's an Al-Maghrib instructor, and he's famous for his How to Give Shahada in 10 Minutes. He's also known as the Black Belt of Dawah. Now, moving on from our last session on the effects of consumerism on our spirituality, this next session will address instant gratification and how it affects us as Muslims. Thank you. Please welcome Sheikh Kamal al-Mekki to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulih al-Amin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. How's everyone this morning? MashaAllah. How much did they pay you guys to come early? That's fantastic. I'm always amazed by the crowd that comes to the first two lectures in the morning. And it makes sense, like you came to the convention, so why are you sleeping in, right? So thank you for coming. Jazakumullah khairan. Do you guys hear about this thing in the news? It happened this month. Little Rock, Arkansas. And there was this grandmother, and she's driving to the mall to go shopping, Christmas shopping. And she was a little bit delayed at the stop sign, so the guy in the car behind her got impatient. And he took out his gun and just fired at the car. The lady didn't really hear much, she just heard some loud thing. By the time she got to the mall, she turned to get the child out of she had a toddler, 3-year-old in the back seat. She came to get him out of the car seat, he was dead, bleeding, shot to death. And this is the second case in this month in Little Rock, Arkansas. I know what you're thinking, what on earth does this have to do with instant gratification and patience? Now, you can call the guy whatever you want to call him, okay? Gun nut, Republican, white, call him whatever you want to call him. But the truth is, you can also call him impatient, true or false. And here's the problem, like with instant gratification, with things happening quickly, we've become so impatient that sometimes we don't even realize that we're impatient. Like if you're at a traffic light and it turns green, and if you literally delay 2 seconds, you can count 1, 2, the car behind you will honk. 2 seconds, like 2 seconds, just give me 2 seconds. But the car behind you will honk. And when you press the up or down button for the elevator, what happens? You press it and it's lit, all right? What happens? You press it again. That'll make it come faster. I know how the mechanics work. If you press it 5 times, it comes down 5 seconds. Nothing happens, you just pressed it, you press it again. Look, while I was preparing for this lecture, I realized that I'm impatient, and I didn't even recognize that it was impatience. This is a study that was conducted with like 6.7 million internet users. And they found that the majority of them will abandon an online video if it takes more than 2 seconds to load. And I didn't know that was impatience. And I realized I do that. Okay? I'm watching an important video. It's about a cat falling into a bathtub. And I'm waiting for it to load. 1, 2, I'm like, oh. Next one, immediately, the dog falling into the bath. It's the same, it's just as funny, dog falling into a bathtub, right? But that's impatience. Studies showed also that people, when they have a page to read, they only read 20% of the material on their page. Because they're impatient. I'm not going to read this whole thing. 20% of the material. 80% is just gone. Just the intro, whatever. Oh, fine, khalas. Let me go back to the cat video or something. 1 in 4 people will abandon a page, not a video now, a page if it takes more than 4 seconds to load. 4 seconds. Important information I want to look up. More than 4 seconds, move on. 50% of people, if it takes more than 10 seconds, half of the people are gone. Amazon, they say that they're looking, like they make like $67 million in sales per day, every single day. But because of people being impatient, they stand to lose potentially about $1.6 billion a year because of a 1 second delay on the page. Like I'm trying to buy something, and if it's delayed for 1 second, the Amazon page from opening, forget this. And you just move on, khalas. Now, Amazon should start a program to get people to be more patient. But they probably won't. They'll probably just try to make sure their pages load up instantly. That's it. And that's the problem. It's just getting worse and worse. Nothing is helping us become more patient. Things are helping us become more and more impatient. Okay. They say that, now people are trying to find the person they're going to spend the rest of their life with in a 3 to 8 minute speed dating session. Like, I don't have time. I need to find out who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. You got 3 minutes. Is it you? It's a nightmare, people. It's a nightmare. They say that, this is a study, this is USA Today. They said that the majority of Americans will not wait in line longer than 15 minutes. 15 minutes. So they would not survive overseas. Okay, there we go. So some mics don't work with beautiful voices. There are different technology. The technology, okay. So half of them said they would never return to an establishment, a business that made them wait. I'm never coming back. Why? Was the food bad? No, they just made me wait. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. 1 in 5 people admitted to being rude to someone who was slow in serving them. So now it's going to translate into how we deal with each other, just like that stop sign incident. 1 in 5 people were rude because the person served them slowly. So we hate slow servers and slow servers. Only the nerds got that joke. Yeah? Should I explain it? Slow internet. Thank you. Sabah al khair. I know it's early in the morning. Okay. All right, so you're thinking, look, so what? Whatever, All right, it's fine. I don't wait for this page. The problem is this is going to translate into our life, how we deal with people. So you're going to be rude to someone who's serving you just because he was slow or she was slow. That's it. So it's going to translate into how we deal with one another. And it's going to translate into how we deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's going to translate over to religiosity. Because we're used to things happening quickly and instantly. We're being satisfied, gratified instantly. And now when it comes to worship requires patience and persistence and perseverance. So what are the bad things then? What are the bad, I lost the word I'm looking for, but it's some fancy word, insert it, of the results of that when it comes to our acts of worship. Some bad stuff, let me tell you. First of all, people start to give up. Like they don't have patience to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They want formulas that will help them get whatever they want instantly. If you want a definition of patience, and this is my personal definition, patience is what you have with your children when there are too many witnesses. True? In public, you gotta be patient with it. Like, sweetheart, when we get home, inshallah. And the only reason we do that, there are too many white people around. Yes. All right. Now, some of you, this is like too early. You're like, I'm offended. I want a refund instantly. Just relax, okay? Relax. All right. So what is so bad about us getting used to everything happening quickly, instant gratification? It translates over to our acts of worship. And with acts of worship, things are supposed to be nice and slow, and you're supposed to persevere and go back again and again and again. So when I need something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm supposed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, find the right times, last third of the night, fast, do all kinds of things, and ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, and ask again and again. And the scholars say, just like a child asking a parent, and you've seen this at the store. The child wants the candy, and the mother is very, very patient. Calm down, Tiffany, right? So, people then have no patience to asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet ﷺ actually told us, يُسْتَجَابُ لِأَحَدِكُمْ مَا لَمْ يَعْجَلْ. One of you, your dua will be responded to as long as you don't rush it. So he described and he defined rushing it, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he said, someone would say, I asked and nothing happened. That's rushing it. As long as you don't rush it, Allah Azza wa Jalla will respond to your dua. But now we're used to things happening so quickly that we get impatient. Okay, I asked once. Like we just now want to put our hands up like this, and by the time we're done with the dua, there's a package right next to you. Oh, alhamdulillah, it came. That's how we want our dua to be answered. And when it doesn't get answered that quickly, what do we want now? We want to look for magical formulas. Overseas, people will go to the local witchcraft guy, the sorcerer, the black magician, and he gives them a boiled egg to eat in the morning and hang this on the top of the tree and it will happen. All that nonsense. Alhamdulillah, Allah spared us in America from a lot of that nonsense. But man, just go overseas, watch someone with one problem, and immediately they go to a guy who gives them some pepper to sprinkle over their father while they're asleep, and some weird formula like that. Always some kind of weird formula like that. Or, and I've heard, these are true stories. There's one formula, they tell you, whatever you want, you just at night recite Surah Al-Fatiha 1,000 times and you'll get it. Just recite Al-Fatiha 1,000 times. I know somebody who tried that. And the good news is he fell asleep before he could finish doing it. Fatiha 1,000 times. I mean, if these formulas work, do you think there would be problems on earth? Like brothers and sisters, after Isha, we're going to begin reciting Al-Fatiha. Inshallah, we can solve the problem in Palestine and solve the problem. Every problem, we'll just do a Fatiha night for it, and that's the end of that. And I know some of you may have heard me say this before, but I can't get over this booklet. 16 years ago or something, we were at some kind of convention, and then there was this guy selling these little booklets that had the 99 names of Allah. And each name, there was a formula. If you said it this many times, some kind of miracle happened for you. Like if you said, and these, I'm not making these up, but one of the names, if you said it 100 times, you will never run out of bread, okay? If you like rice, for example, you can skip that one, it's fine. But you will never run out of bread. There's another one, if you say it, people will always respect you. There's another one, if you say it, you'll never run out of money. And there's another one, if you say it, your wife will respect you. And that's the only one I tried, by the way. But, I mean, you know, could work, right? Have hope. All right. So my wife is here, I'm going to stop. But the point is, people are looking for formulas now because they don't have patience to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Going into the haram and all kinds of things. Giving up from asking Allah. That's the whole point of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala testing you. You develop this wonderful relationship with Allah azza wa jal. And that last part of the night, you wake up and you go to Allah azza wa jal. Ya Allah, I got that issue again. And you just keep talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah azza wa jal is testing you so you can become close to Him. I know this one person, Allah azza wa jal tested them with some difficulties. They made qiyam for 1.5 years, never skipping qiyam. 1.5 years. And then they said, this was like 12 years ago or so. Then they said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectified my condition and I have not gotten up for qiyam in 12 years. So now you see, when you're tested, what happens with your closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the good stuff that happens to you. So that's the whole point of when you have difficulty and you go and you rush back to Allah azza wa jal and you make a nice long sujood and you're so sincere and you're so humbled in front of Allah and impoverished in front of Allah azza wa jal. But now I don't want to deal with that. Let's find me some quick dua. And I know I've said this story before, but this is a true story. This Imam in Trinidad, he said a man came up to him and he said, Sheikh, give me dua to make me patient because I don't want to wait for it. It's not a joke. The guy came up to the Imam, he said, Sheikh, give me a dua to help me become patient because I don't want to wait for it. I'm too impatient until I become patient. And he just wants to say a dua and suddenly says it one time. How would that work? I guess that's what patient people look like. They do this. You know something? Patience is difficult. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises great reward for being patient. إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّ الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرُهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Allah Azza wa Jal says that those who are patient, they will get the reward without hisab. What does it mean without hisab? Some scholars said, without being held accountable and standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jal and going through the list of deeds and all that. So a free pass to Jannah. Why? That's a great reward because what they did, the action was really great. Being patient is very difficult. That's why they get this great reward. بغير حساب, other mufassirin said, without any mathematical equation. You do a good deed, it's multiplied by 10, 10 is multiplied by 7, then it's multiplied by 100, and it keeps multiplying. But here, there's no mathematical equation. Allah will just keep multiplying for you. Equations end, but here, Allah just keeps giving you. Either way, you see great reward. Why? Because the act itself was something really, really difficult. But because patience is very difficult, we don't like to be told to be patient. So you have a problem, you go to the Imam. And you tell him your full story. And by the way, just remember this, you don't need to tell him the full story. And I've heard a lot of scholars complain that when people want to ask them a question, they give them their whole history, and then in the end, it has nothing to do with their history. And this happens all the time, and it happened to me personally, and this is a true story. I sat down with a guy for 2.5 hours. I mean, I literally watched the clock, 2.5 hours. And he told me about where his parents met and then where he was born and the guy who bullied him at school and that. And then after 2.5 hours, I said, what is your question? And I'm not making this up. He said, can you help me find a job? There's something called a resume, akhi. Just give me one and get out of my face. My father met my mother in Ireland, and people ask, so, all right, so that's just a side point now. You don't need to go into all that history, all right? But you come to the local imam, you give him your whole history of where your parents met, and I came from Hyderabad and all this stuff. And then, when you get to your point, the imam says, oh, subhanAllah, may Allah make it easy for you, but inshallah, be patient. What? I spent an hour telling you all this stuff going into my ethnic background, all right? And in the end, because you have no skill, you have no talent, you don't know anything about counseling, you haven't read enough about psychology, so you give me the old cop-out. Be patient, inshallah. That's why you throw be patient at me. You see what happens? If somebody says be patient, we're like, oh, he's one of those people. He's not creative, he doesn't have an answer, so he just gives me the whole, hey, I got one for you here. Here we go, brother, be patient, inshallah. He just has it, like this, imams have this backup thing, you know. When they don't know how to fix the problem, they have this something called sabr, brother, sabr. They just give you, brother, here's this for you, chew on this, 24 hours. Yeah. That's what we think. You know why we get angry when someone says be patient? Because being patient is difficult. And we don't like to be told be patient. Because we want a solution. We want action items. We want to click on something and we want it to happen. But guess what? It doesn't happen that way. You want proof? Here's simple proof. How many times in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will highlight a problem that was faced by nations before or one of the prophets and highlight all the issues. And then the answer, be patient. Sometimes there are no action items. You just have to be patient. Someone comes to you and I lost my mother and I was very close to her and everything. Be patient, inshallah. What? That's all you can tell me? Well, what else do you want me to tell you? I can't bring her back from the dead. I can't, you want to join her? I can help you with that one. But be patient. Yes. So, just be patient. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will mention these things. Oh man, Bani Israel, what they're going to do to Musa alayhi salam and his followers. We're going to kill their children. نستحي نساءهم, attack their women and everything. قال موسى لقومه استعينوا بالله واصبروا. Musa said to his people, seek the assistance of Allah and be patient. What? Ya Musa, give us something, some action items and an agenda and something. Sometimes there isn't one. Just be patient. And it's difficult. That's why people don't like to be told to be patient. And many problems are just, there's nothing to fix them except patience. But we don't like to hear that. And that's why the reward for patience is so great, because it is something that's difficult. But we're in the age of instant gratification. So if you're told to be patient, okay, well, he's not good enough, let me go to somebody else. If he tells you to be patient, then you're going to try to find something creative, or find some kind of formula, or find some kind of dua. But we trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't have to answer our dua the way we want it. He doesn't have to answer it the way we want it. He doesn't have to respond to our dua according to our terms and to our conditions. But if we trust in the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we wouldn't want everything to happen instantly. Many times, and you know this, many times in your life you want something to happen and you realize later on that I'm so glad that it didn't happen back then. But you were so patient back then. Impatient, sorry. So impatient because you wanted it to happen instantly. That's the problem now. Man. So, can we be realistic with ourselves from now on? The person before us, the light turns red, or the light turns green, traffic light turns green. We're not going to honk instantly. Wait a little bit. He's going to make a right turn, but he's taking his time. Wait a little bit. Someone at the stop sign gets so impatient. Just wait. What's going to happen? A few seconds. In the video with the cat who's going to fall in just be patient. You will see the cat fall in the water. It's okay. You will see the billi falling into the pani. It's not a problem. And let's hope it's Chandra also, this cold. But let me tell you something. We're so impatient to get home. We want to honk at the guy in front of us. We want him to make a right turn quickly. So when we can get home, what are we going to do when we get home? Watch some kind of movie, or again, watch some videos on YouTube. And you would think the way we're impatient it's like we really want to invest all our time in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I got to get home because I need to make dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jalla and read my juz of the Quran. I just got to get home, and then you get home and just lay around the couch like this. You're in a hurry to do this? You were in such a rush for that? All right, folks. I'm done. I just want to say, let's be aware of where we're impatient from now on. Let's be aware. Let's be patient when it comes to the video loading. Let's be, oh man, when the ad comes and you want to watch it, you want to watch a Quran video. And the guy who has that video up, he's got the ads on. So now I got to watch an ad about something that's haram, waiting for the Quran, right? But you can't wait until that thing, the timer says 1 second. You can skip ad, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, skip. Okay, here's some mirshari now, finally. Alhamdulillah. The ayat of sabr, I'm waiting. I want to hear the ayat of sabr now. The lecture's on patience, and let's be aware of those kinds of things, because they translate into our life. We're impatient. We're impatient with our children. We're impatient with our spouses. We're impatient with everybody. And we're just used to things happening in seconds. I was impatient with my children just coming here to the convention. Get dressed. There are no white people around. You better get dressed if you know what's good for you. All right, folks. Jazakumullah khair for your attentive listening. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to become patient, and that this does not transfer into our acts of worship, and that we're patient in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're supposed to be patient when it comes to worshiping and obeying Allah Azza wa Jal, patient in the calamities that befall us in our life, and patient in abstaining and staying away from the haram. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us that kind of patience. Jazakumullah khairan for your attentive listening and for coming early. Enjoy the rest of the convention and the conference. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sallallahu wa barak ala Muhammad.